Masculinity. The best way I could describe this trait, an essential part of human survival that is often misunderstood and slandered until crisis hits. Men are regularly disrespected, their feelings ignored, and their usage undervalued. Until shit hits the fan, then masculinity can be witnessed in all of its glory from a safe distance as pure destructive power is channeled into selflessness and a raw desire to protect and serve. Suge Knight once said, "You never know what you need until you need it." Your responsibility to the world as a man is very similar. You must remain stoic, be numb to criticism, elevate others, create an environment so calm and safe that the vulnerable may forget your value, but remain ready. In silence, constantly preparing for a war that may or may not happen. In today's world, the format of war is a far different battlefield to the one our ancestors were used to, but the core fundamentals still apply. Many modern men have become lazy, greedy, and weak, severely underprepared for a worst-case scenario. "You never know what you need until you need it" is embodied by the quote, "It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener at war." Sadly, today's world has a lot more men skilled with hedge trimmers than shields and swords. I believe arming oneself physically, financially, mentally, and via experience and awareness are forms of life insurance for you and for your dependents. It's your duty as a man to harden yourself for such moments. If you get injured, lose your income, or tragically die, others suffer. Please write this down and remember it. Men aren't allowed to be a burden. The sheepdog. While the family sleeps and the sheep retreat to their warm barn, the sheepdog sleeps outside in the cold, rain, snow, and howling wind. They adapt to seasonal temperatures and develop a thick coat to make it through the harshest of winter nights, but it's all for a singular cause: to be ready when crisis strikes. How many of you are prepared for the big bad wolf? Now, I don't know if this related to you guys, but it really strikes a chord with me. When I was growing up, I always felt like the villain. It took me a few years to really shake this. I almost had a complex where it was like, why is the world against me? Why does everyone hate me? Everyone wants me to lose. You know, you'd see a woman who needed help and you'd go over and you'd be like, "Can I help?" She'd be like, "No, go away. Like, you're a creep." And you'd think, like, what the fuck is the problem with the world? Like, I'm just trying to be a good guy. Like, why does everyone think I have alternative motives? And it's like James Sexton said, who I've done an interview with for Fatherless Generation, which you guys have probably seen by now. He said, you know, men are told so often that they're the monster, they're the bad guy and whatnot. So that they get to a point where they go, "Oh, you want to see a monster? You want to see the bad guy? I'll show you." That nearly happened to me. The one thing that dragged me out of it was realizing the high school to adult male switch. There's so many of you guys that are looking at life as a high school sense where you need to be rewarded, where as a kid you get told, "Oh, good job, Johnny. Well done. Great work. Fantastic. Well done for doing what you did. Oh, let's put that on the refrigerator. That was an amazing drawing you did." Doesn't happen as a man. Doesn't happen as a man. You don't get credit for things. You don't get a reward. You don't get a medal. Do you know what your trophy is as a man? Everybody is safe and secure. That's your trophy. Everything that you know and love is safe and secure. You get to put your head on the pillow at night and go, "I've done my job." That's your trophy. It's very rare that somebody will come up to you, a woman will come up to you or your kids and just be like, "Fantastic job that you've done. I'm so proud of you," and whatnot. That's what you say to a woman. That's what you say to the kids. They need the boost. They need the chat. As a man, you don't get it. And here's the thing, you don't need it. Guys, we're offering something game-changing at the moment for my school community, $400 for the year, for the annual plan, for yearly access. We're currently offering it plus a one-to-one call with me for another 10 people. We've had about 20 people sign up. We're offering it to another 10, and then we're going to close it. So if that sounds good to you, the link will be below. Now back to the video. You don't need anybody to say it to you. You operate in silence. You prepare yourself for a war that might never come. You know, people don't know your value as a man until they need it. That's the difference. Until they actually sit there and think, "Do you know what? This is a dangerous situation. I wish I had so-and-so." You see so many girls do this. They break up with a guy And then they get into a situation where like they have to get home from a club at like 2, 3 in the morning. The next day they're calling that guy like, I miss you, I want you back, it isn't the same, like you would have handled that situation. I just realized like how much I used to depend on you. And it's like, people don't really see that in a man until they don't have it. You know, people don't realize what our role is until, you know, normality is taken away. So you're walking down the street. Yeah, you're fine, you don't need a man. And then somebody tries to rob you. And that guy's double your size and double your strength. And then somebody like me walks past, picks him up, dumps him on his head and breaks his nose. And then you go, oh, well, that was useful. I might have got robbed, raped, whatever, if you weren't around. And it's like, you need to stay ready. That's your role as a man. And I think a lot of men haven't wrapped their heads around this yet. I think they see themselves as very misunderstood. This is why so many of us relate to Batman, for example. We'll watch Batman and we see ourselves as, you know, the good villain. You know, I want to say the term the anti-hero. And that's why I think a lot of guys relate to Batman, because they just see it as, yeah, I'm doing my work in the shadows. I'm getting my head down. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to put something together, and everyone thinks I'm a loser, and nobody realizes what I've actually done and stuff like that. Like, certain things I do certain acts, I do certain things for people, and then I never mention it. And they don't even realize, they'll never bring it up. They don't even realize that you've just helped them, you've saved them, you've done something, you've changed something. You've gone out of your way to make sure something's happened, and you don't mention it because you don't need credit. The reason there's not people being raped, murdered, killed, there's not pedophiles running riot all the time, is because there's big, scary, normal guys who are actually protectors, defenders, who are looking out for people. That's your role as a man, and you do not get credit for it. And everyone's in this high school mentality of like, I need the teacher to say I've been a good boy. I need my mum and dad to give me a round of applause and say I've been brilliant. I need a sticker. That's the culture that we're trained within. That doesn't happen in adult life as a man. Get used to it. You will go years without being told, I love you. You will go years in the early days without a hug or a kiss. You will go years without somebody saying, I'm proud of you. I understand like what you've been through. It's really tough. Like, I'm proud of you. And it will end up being your wife, and she'll only say it once or twice in your entire life. That's what you just have to get used to. And guys say, oh, as a man, I don't get this, I don't get that. You know, it's just not going to happen. Just get used to it. Get over it. That's not your role. It's your role to bring other people up. It's your role to say, are you okay? Can I help? Can I assist? Nobody gives a shit about you. Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody gets on like the tube in London and they've got like a limp, they're on crutches, they're in a wheelchair, I'd be like, oh, can I help? Nobody's going to give up their seat for like a fully grown man. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's going to give up their seat for like a fully grown, able man. Little do they know, you've just had the hardest day of your life. You've got a hamstring injury. You know, your feet are fucking killing. Nobody's going to look at you and go, are you okay today? It's just not going to happen. But guys are looking out for this like handout that, you know, you can be treated like a little boy. I think that's where like cuck behavior comes from, and you know, the kind of like good boy treatment and stuff like that. I think that's maybe where that comes from. But you just got to get it through your head. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody's coming to save you. You will probably be seen your entire life as the villain. But in reality, you're the anti-hero. So I've had an idea for years, which I call life insurance. And it's not, you know, normal life insurance, but people do this, right? People pay £50 a month for life insurance, income protection, to make sure that they're going to be okay and whatnot. In my opinion, it's your duty as a man to put personal life insurance income protection in place from just who you are, how hard you work on yourself. You know, certain things, physical, financial, mental, staying on top of everything, not going out and doing endless drugs and drink and whatnot, frying your brain, and then you can't provide for people, not stretching, not going to the gym, not taking care of your body. And then one day you have a massive heart attack, or you pull your back and you're like, oh, I can't play with the kids anymore. These things for me are life insurance, making sure you don't spend your finances stupidly. You keep it in the bank for a rainy day to make sure the family are protected. This is your role. I call it life insurance. That, in my opinion, it's more superior than life insurance, because I think if I was a weak man who never went to the gym and I got hit by a car, and I don't stretch and stuff like that, and I got hit by a car at like 20 miles per hour, I could die. Okay, whereas if I'm a man who's well built, who's robust, who stretches, who's in great shape, good physical health, and I get hit by a car at 20, Whether I've got life insurance or not, I think I've got a much better chance of survival if I've been doing all those things, going to the gym and whatever. Just having life insurance just means, okay, the family's paid out for. And is it a nice bonus? Yeah, but nobody takes care of the real life insurance. Being able to fight, being able to, knowing that you can just lift 200 kilograms off the ground and deadlift it, knowing that you can lift 100 kg above your head, that's heavier than the average man. So worst case scenario, you can get your family out of a burning building. You know that if some guy breaks into your house, you can beat the shit out of him. You can pick him up off of your daughter and throw him out the door. Do you know what I mean? Like, those sort of things are important to me. I think when people go, I've got life insurance, you don't really though. You're just paying for something. Life insurance pays out when you die. What's your pre-life insurance? What have you put in place as protection? That's your duty as a man. Every time you don't go to the gym, you skip a day, you lie in bed in the morning. Every time you sit there and you masturbate, and you just get, every time you eat shit food or have a couple beers and whatnot, you just get a little bit weaker. You get a little bit softer. Every time you don't, every time you give in to your word, you say, I'm going to do that today, and then you don't do it, you're getting a little bit weaker, a little bit softer, and you're letting down yourself and the people around you. Also staying on top of your cardio. Staying on top of your cardio is a massive one. If you can't breathe, you can't run, you can't get anywhere. Like, let's say right now somebody calls me and says, I'm 200 meters down the road, can you come and save me? Somebody's attacking me. And about halfway there, I'm like, oh, I'm out of breath. Hang on, just give me 5 minutes I've just pulled my hamstring. If that was my daughter saying, I'm at the train station, can you come and save me? I think this guy's about to rape me. I want to sprint flat out and be there in a minute. I just want to be down there in 30 seconds, if not quicker. I could, if I could dive out this window, I would. Like, that's the ability that you need to have as a man. If you were a guy who was like, is there a police officer around? I don't know, I'm a bit scared, I don't want to come down. Your duty as a man is to protect and serve everybody around you. You're not going to get credit. You've got a very high school mentality where you're looking for women to go, oh my God, you're such an amazing guy, you're incredible, you have this, you have that, you're impeccable, you saved me, you did this. It's like, you're going to do all this shit, you're going to provide, you're going to take someone on holiday, you're going to help them, you're going to do this, and you're not even going to get a thank you. It's just the female nature, it's just children's nature. That's the way it's going to work. As a man, nobody gives a shit about you, and it sucks and it shouldn't be that way. But you have to accept it and just realize that that's how life's always going to be. Someone who truly understands the role of being a man and a father figure with a purpose is my friend Gary. As a man with a wife and a young child and another child on the way, I wanted to get his take on the true purpose of being a man. So I headed over to Greenwich to go and meet with him for the day to discuss this exact topic.
Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. You all right?
What's going on?
You good?
Yes.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you,
on
mate.
the new child.
Cheers, mate.
Brilliant
Thank
work.
you.
So, you've got the baby on the way.
Yes,
You've
mate.
already got a child.
Yep.
Beautiful family in place. I've got a concept that I call life insurance, but life insurance that comes from, you as a man financially providing, protecting, going to the gym, being able to fight, elements like that. What sort of responsibility do you feel right now, knowing that you've got 2 children and a wife, and you're the one who has to kind of protect all of that?
That's a deep question, mate. I think I feel obligated to push myself as hard as I can in every single area.
Yeah.
There's the drive for me to provide financially, and that's obviously a big thing with my missus going on maternity, and I know the second kid's coming. But I know I can take care of that if I just carry on as I am. It's not like I'm just focused on, what's the next thing? Like, I found something that works, and I just need to kind of continue. In regards to the physical stuff, I mean, I can handle myself, but it's still a case of me staying fit and healthy. And it's not just a case of protecting my missus. It's also making sure my kids actually have someone to play with that has energy. You know what I mean? I don't want to be working all day just to provide financially and then go, sorry guys, I'm knackered now. My kids are old enough to actually run around consistently and play football. I want to make sure that I'm there, even if I'm in shape. I want to have the gas tank to be able to play with them.
Agreed.
And that takes pressure off the missus then as well, because she can recoup energy if I'm physically fit, and I can then look after them in some physical aspects, tire them out, go play football, all of that stuff. So
I always think as well, it's like if something happens to you, with all due respect to everyone else, the family crumbles.
Yeah.
The man is the rock.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
you have a
agree.
responsibility to stay in shape, to stay strong, to, you know, not get injured. Like, people pay for life insurance, they pay for income protection. It's like the best that you can do is just be that already.
Yeah.
Like if with
Just embody that.
exactly,
Yeah.
like you're less likely to get injured. You're less likely to have the bad back and stuff like that. Like you said, playing with your kid, you're able to still maintain that lifestyle without having to pay. Like people will pay £50 a month to have life insurance. Your life is more secure when you're physically able.
It is. Yeah.
Makes so much more
Yeah.
sense.
You have the dynamic as well to take care of your wife. You have the, you know, it's not just a one-way street where she's looking after the kids. You have that dynamic between the two of you where she knows that she can depend on you physically for, you know, the activities, or you can look after her in a physical way if someone attacks or whatever, or if there's a potential threat. And it's not just a case of her constantly being on edge and not trusting you.
Yeah.
You know, there is that feeling of contentment in her as well, which makes for a great relationship. She knows that she can depend on her man in a situation with the kids or in a potential threat or life-threatening situation, whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to be anything major. She knows that she can just relax and she can just be at peace, and that's what you want. That's when she's able to give more to you, and I think that allows the
masculine,
relationship.
feminine.
There you go. It allows the relationship to grow, and that's the masculine feminine dynamic that I was talking about. So, yeah, I'm always looking out for the next move I can make, but I know for at the moment, if I just carry on as I am, things are going to be okay because I've already got a kid and I'm 2 years into that. Another one's coming. It's going to be another step up, but I know I'll get there just by carrying on as I am right now.
So, as a proud family man yourself, and somebody who does praise masculinity, why do you think masculinity in this area is being so disrespected?
I just think the definition is incorrect. I think people are reading into it too much. Masculinity used to be just being confident in yourself. It just used to be, I'm confident, I'm purposeful. It's not trying to be anything else other like alpha. You know, nowadays it's you have to be an alpha to be masculine. You don't. You just have to have a purpose and a vision and just be confident in your ability to execute on that. That's masculinity in a nutshell. We'll keep that in.
Keep going. No, keep going.
It's fine. It's fine. That's masculinity in a nutshell. Nowadays, it's you've got to be jacked. You've got to be earning 100 grand a month. You've got to be driving a lime green Lamborghini, which we mentioned before, right? You've got to have all of these things to then come across as an alpha masculine male. Reality is, if you can protect a woman, provide for a woman, raise healthy, happy kids, and you're confident in your ability to do that, and that, you know, gives you a nice family dynamic, why would you want to go searching for more? I think the mentality of more is perpetuated by social media as well. And then the message just gets convoluted. Like I said, I think it is just down to having confidence in your ability as a man. That's all it is.
I think as well, you look at it, you've got a situation where masculinity is frowned upon until it's required. And people don't realise like how important we are. And we're placid, we're nice guys, we're teddy bears, we're big teddy bears.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if we're required, we're ready.
Yeah.
And I think that gets forgotten until it's required. And you know, people overlook that fact. And for me personally, I know it's a tough subject to look into, but I think the reason a lot of, you know, women and children today can walk around and have nice lives is because people like us exist. Men like us exist.
That's a great point.
And the bad ones are scared of the good ones. We have to be as tough as they are whilst being good people.
Yeah.
And I think we're the reason. We're almost like the barbarians are at the gate. We're the gate and the wall.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important to remember is like without men like me and you, without men that do hold these values and I would say protect in silence. That's what they're doing. They're almost being these masculine warriors, but in silence. The gardener, the warrior in the gardener in a garden.
Yeah.
That's kind of concept. Without that, I think the world would be a chaotic place, and that gets forgotten because it's not visually seen. It's almost like a hidden secret, where it's like we're there. They know we're there, so they don't do anything. But if we were to be taken away, like when they say when the cat's away, the mice come out to play. That's what would happen.
Yeah, the stability that masculinity provides 100% needs to be there, because then people can operate in safety, knowing that you've got strong military force, you've got police, you've got firefighters. You know, I think about my dad who was in the fire service for 30 years, and he'd be locked in, obviously on a shout, forgetting about everything, and he would put that side of him completely away when he was around me and my sister and my mum. So it was like, he's vicious in the sense of getting the job done when he absolutely has to. He's not going to rest on his laurels and allow other people to do it or his team to do it. Like, they were all the same, but obviously I saw my dad as an individual and I knew his traits. So having that in my family dynamic was crucial for me. And I know your dad was a really masculine man as well. So having that for you, it's kind of, you set the tone for masculinity very early in your mind because you see a role model like your dad. And that's what I'm trying to do for my kids. I've got 2 sons. Well, one's not born yet. The other one is 2 years old. And I know that I want to carry that on from what I saw from my dad. And I know you want to do that as well. And as a result of that, my missus knows that she can relax, knowing that she's got someone to lean on if she's has a rough day, or if she's stressed or whatever, or if shit hits the fan and there is a fire, I can get the family out. You know what I mean? It's like little things like emotional support are the basic things that a man can do for a woman. The extreme things like house fire, getting the people out, being able to be fit and healthy and strong to lift your woman out and carry your kids under your arm if it ever got to that, God forbid it did. That's the thing. But it goes back to what I said, mate, about confidence. If you're not confident in your ability to do that, you need to do something about it. You need to go to the gym. You need to do more. You need to believe in yourself more. You need to train your mind to believe in that.
How small is that as well? Like, it's a massive thing, but how small is that? Like, you forget about it?
Yeah.
It's like, we were saying earlier about life insurance. That's what it is for your family. Like, you don't have to be the biggest guy in the world, but being strong enough to know that you could put your wife and kids on your back and carry them out of a burning building.
Exactly. Knowing in the back of your mind that you can do that, it gives you a sense of peace. It's like, if the worst ever happened, I could deal with it. Or I could at least mitigate 90% of it. Do you know what I mean? And
I feel like a lot of modern men as well, they want to be told, like, you're great, you're this, you're that. We don't get that.
Yeah.
We've got to be the hero in silence. Like, people don't realize that we can do all of this, but they realize we can do all of this, but they don't need to tell us. That's what masculinity is. You know you could save the day whenever you want to. It's your job to put things in place to make sure you never have to save the day. You almost prevent problems before it becomes a problem. That's what masculinity is for me.
Spot
and you
on.
don't get credit for it. But that's the life.
Spot on. It's the life we choose.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's freezing, mate.
Should we move?
Let's move on.
So, Gaz, I got a video I want to show you.
I did wonder why you had your phone out.
I hope it doesn't rile you up too much, but I think it's important to watch. Take a look at this.
Were there certain characteristics that you looked for in children before molesting them?
In children, yes, but more I also looked at their families. If I thought the father was a threat, I would not approach the child.
How does that make you feel when it comes to the fatherhood element? He wouldn't go up to a child if the father was a threat.
I'll keep this clean for the camera. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm a bit emotional after watching that, to be honest, because it's
I can tell, yeah. I do apologise.
No, it's fine, mate. Yeah, I think it just holds together everything that we've been saying today. It's like, if you can protect your family, because I'm just thinking of my kids at the moment.
Yeah.
If you can protect your family and you can look out for threats like that, I do it all the time, mate. I come to London, and if I'm out with Vicky and I'm out with Harrison, or even just with Vicky, my mind does not switch off. I don't know if it's ADHD, I don't know if it's borderline autism or something, right? But my mind is like scanning. It's like, what's that guy going to do? What's this car going past? Like, and it's crazy to think, because I don't live in an action movie. I'm not an immediate target for anybody. But I'm just thinking, what if something happened? Just what if, right? This city's had terror attacks before. So I'm like, you had a terror attack on London Bridge, you had it on the Underground, you had the bus blowing up, not that long ago, really. And if obviously nothing's happened since, but I'm like, what if? What if someone was walking past in a quiet area of London, like we are now, and someone decided to just snatch Harrison and run away with him? There's a guy walking towards me and I just didn't pay attention to him. And then it's people like that have that in their mind, that preconception that they can do that because the dad isn't a threat, or the kid looks distracted and dad's not paying attention, or the mum's not paying attention, or whatever. But I just think if you're alert as a man and you look after yourself, you hold yourself well, you don't have to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, to be seen as a threat. But if you, like I said earlier, if you're confident, you know how to handle yourself, your kids get that aura from you. Your wife gets that aura. It just keeps the family together because she nurtures the kid. You protect the whole family, pieces it together. It's like the lion of the pride. You know, you have the alpha, and then you have females looking after the cubs. And he protects it from other males who want to try and take over the pride. And that's the same in human nature. We forget that we're animals. We forget that other people want what we want.
Yeah.
If a guy wants to snatch my kid, he'll want that. He'll want to do it. If he's fucked up like that, he'll want to do it. And if I can't protect my family from that, then, you know, what's the fucking point of being a father? So it's the whole thing I'm trying to perpetuate, mate, alongside you, is preparing for fatherhood. Like I said, you don't need to be massive. You don't need to be jacked. You just have to have the ability or the belief and the confidence that you can protect your family however you see fit. And there's people like that in the world. There's monsters like that exist everywhere, and you just don't know who you're talking to. This guy came forward and was convicted. You know he's a paedophile. You know he's a sex predator, but you don't know who is. It could be anybody.
It's true.
And if you can't protect yourself, then that guy's going to win all the time.
Would you kill for your kids, Gaz?
Yeah, no without fucking question. I laugh because it's almost like, of course I would. Of course. I saw a video, I don't know if it's a YouTube short or something. They were interviewing people. They were interviewing a bunch of random parents. And I don't know what the narrative was, but they were all women. And the women said no. They were seriously questioning whether they would do it.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to a man, first man, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Straight away. And that's what you need. Nothing, what the women said isn't wrong because they're not built to kill and protect. They're not.
Yeah.
Right? So asking a woman, would you kill for your kid, is a very weird question for them to hear. Their mind's like,
because they don't know if they would, but we stay ready.
yeah, but in
We know we
the
would.
moment they probably would.
They probably would. Yeah, yeah.
right? But when they ask that question, not that they're stupid, but their mind's a bit like, a bit taken back. It's like asking a masculine man, you know, would you dress in a princess dress and walk down the street? It's like, well, yeah, but
Yeah.
probably
So
not.
it's like when they say once you have kids, your daughter's going to put makeup on you.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. And then when you have
It's
the
just
daughter,
an
you
odd
go,
question
yeah,
to
I'll
ask.
do it.
Like, one's extreme, one's not. I'm just doing like stupid comparisons. But with a man, it's not even a hesitation because we're wired that way. We're wired for violence. We're wired for war. We're wired to protect. Even the weakest man, you can bring it out of him.
Yeah.
Like you can bring it out of the 5 foot angry short man to a degree. He'll still be able to protect his family. And I think that's the difference between men and women that's been pushed out of society because we're trying to make everybody equal. And we need to realize that we're not. We can be equal in certain things, 100%, but when it comes down to the animalistic, vicious side of humanity, men are always going to come out on top, and you need strong men to be able to push that message forward to protect you from people like that.
What would you do to that guy if he tries to take your son?
Now we're getting into the real
Wait.
details, mate. If we were in a park like this and he snatched him, obviously I'd run after him. I'd stamp his head in fucking broad daylight, mate. Like and I've got my size 12s on at the moment. Like yeah.
Orange
we won't go
jumpsuit
there, mate. Oh,
on
you'd
the
see
news.
me handcuffed on the news, on the 10 o'clock news in an orange jumpsuit with the height measurement behind me. And I think my missus would understand that as well. Like I'd get, I don't know how many years I'd get, but I'd come out and I'd still go back to them. I think she'd wait for me as well. If it came to that, we're speaking in like fantasy terms now, but if it came to that, I 100% think my wife would go, yeah, you did the right thing.
Sorry to push you to that place, mate, but I think it's important to hear. I think because I would be the same.
Yeah.
I haven't even got kids yet, but I know I'd be the same. My dad was the same. I think it's important to hear. I think this is the true, the great side of masculinity that gets frowned upon, but when it's required, this is when, you know, we step up. I think it's important to see because it doesn't get spoken about, but it needs to be spoken about because we have a role and people forget that. I think a lot of men are lost in this world, but like you see that there, you see the passion you speak with. A lot more men need to see that. I think it's important.
Appreciate it, mate.
Appreciate you, mate. It's been a great day. Thank you.
Men, you're not a villain. You're the anti-hero. Misunderstood, underappreciated, never getting credit, never wanting the credit, taken for granted, but always ready for war. A good man, a gentle giant, with a purpose to protect and serve, but capable of extreme violence if required. This is the life of a man. Thank you for watching.